Everything seemed calm, but in an instant, a nearly 7.0 magnitude earthquake caught drivers on this road completely off guard. If you've ever wondered what it's like to experience an earthquake while in a car, now you'll know.
On September 2nd, 2025, in the remote and rugged landscapes of Xinjiang, China, the Earth offered a brutal reminder of its untamable power. A powerful earthquake struck the region, toppling buildings and sending a wave of terror through communities that had been living peacefully just moments before. The following is a chronicle of the first 24 hours of this disaster, a period of chaos, fear, and resilience. The first sensation was not shaking, but sound. A deep, subterranean growl that seemed to emanate from the very core of the planet. Then, at precisely 3:58 p.m. Beijing time, the ground in Qiping County, Aksu Prefecture, began to heave. The 4.9 magnitude quake, though not massive by global standards, was viciously effective due to its shallow 17-kilometer depth. The energy erupted directly onto the surface, creating a violent, whip-like motion. Inside homes, the world turned. In schools, lessons were replaced by instinctual fear. The rumbling echoed like a malevolent warning across the Tian Shan Mountains, a seismic shockwave that would be felt as far away as Tibet and Sichuan. In these first few minutes, survival was the only thought. People poured from their swaying homes and workplaces, their faces a mask of disbelief and terror, as the ground continued to pitch beneath their feet. The timing, just a day before the National Victory Day holiday, added a layer of profound unease to the unfolding chaos. As the most violent shaking subsided, the first aftershocks began. Sharp, jarring jolts that sent fresh waves of panic through the population. In these initial hours, before the official response could fully mobilize, the first responders were the people themselves. Neighbors helped neighbors, pulling the elderly from cracked and unstable homes, helping parents find their frightened children in the chaotic streets. The digital realm exploded. Social media platforms like Weibo and Douyin became a real-time disaster map, filled with shaky videos capturing the immediate aftermath. Footage of swinging chandeliers, collapsed garden walls, and panicked crowds painted a mosaic of a region in shock. One widely circulated video showed a group of men working together to move a large, toppled cabinet that had blocked a family's front door, trapping them inside. This period was defined by both widespread fear and remarkable acts of spontaneous community solidarity. The China Earthquake Network Center provided the technical details, latitude 40.75 north, longitude 78.76 east, but the human stories emerging from the ground told the real story. As dusk began to settle over the mountains, the gears of the state's emergency apparatus were turning at full speed. The Aksu Prefecture government, in coordination with the regional authorities, declared a Level 3 emergency. Convoys of emergency vehicles, including ambulances, fire trucks, and military transports from the Xinjiang Production and Construction Corps, began making their way toward Keping County. The logistical challenges were significant. The region is vast, and many of the affected villages are connected by narrow mountainous roads, themselves at risk from earthquake-induced landslides. The first official damage reports began to trickle in, bringing with them a profound sense of relief. 154 houses were damaged, but thanks to rapid evacuations, no casualties were reported. Search and rescue teams began systematic sweeps of the hardest-hit areas, while structural engineers started the painstaking process of assessing the safety of critical infrastructure like schools, hospitals, and bridges. The quake's reach was becoming clearer, with reports of strong tremors and minor damage coming from as far away as Chengdu in Sichuan province. As darkness enveloped Xinjiang, a new kind of fear took hold. The threat was no longer the visible, violent shaking, but the invisible, ever-present possibility of another major aftershock. The vast majority of residents in the affected areas refused to sleep indoors. Public squares, school playgrounds, and open fields were transformed into makeshift refugee camps. Families huddled together in their cars or under blankets in the cold night air, starting at every sound, their nerves raw. Even minor tremors, which continued to ripple through the region every hour or so, sent hearts racing. For the elderly, the night brought back traumatic memories of past, more deadly earthquakes. The psychological toll of the disaster began to mount, a trauma born from the realization that the very ground they lived on was unstable and treacherous. The government-provided tents and supplies began to arrive, offering some comfort, but they could not dispel the deep-seated fear that lingered in the darkness. Hours 17 to 24. The dawn of a new reality. The morning of September 3rd broke over a changed landscape. In the clear light of day, the full extent of the property damage became apparent. The 154 damaged houses were not just statistics, they were shattered homes, representing lifetimes of work and memory, now reduced to rubble or rendered dangerously uninhabitable. The official response was now fully operational. Damage assessment teams fanned out across the county, cataloging the destruction. The media narrative began to solidify, praising the swift and effective response that had prevented any loss of life. Seismologists reiterated that Xinjiang's location at the intersection of tectonic plates makes such events an unavoidable reality, and emphasized the importance of continuous monitoring and public preparedness. For the residents of Keping County, life had been irrevocably altered. They began the slow process of picking through the debris, but the trauma of the quake and the lingering fear of the Earth's unpredictable power remained. The videos of shaking homes and frightened crowds continued to circulate online, a stark digital testament to the terror experienced by the people of Xinjiang that day. The first 24 hours were over, but the road to recovery had only just begun.